every drop of your saliva, there is an enzyme that is specific for plant carbohydrates. Every drop of saliva you create has salivary amylase, which is specific for plant carbohydrates. So whether you eat goat or the salty fish, or you're vegetarian, or you're lacto-ovo, or pescatarian, or whatever you want to say, or carnivore, it doesn't matter. Every single time you take a bite, or even see someone take a bite, your body says, give me plants. Give me plants. You can't deny it. Whether you obey that, or whether you don't obey that, it doesn't matter. Your body says the same message. But let's take a look at somewhere else. Let's take a look at, let's take a look at this organ. This is your stomach, right? And to digest protein, you need to create hydrochloric acid. So the more protein you eat, the more acid. Make sense? And your body creates an enzyme called pepsin to pepsinogen. That's specifically for protein. So who do you think has more acid? A human being, or this guy right here, the lion? Who do you think has more acid?
The lion.
How much more? Well, actually it's 10 times more. That makes sense, right? He's eating a lot more protein. But did you know that your body, if you eat more meat, your body will produce more hydrochloric acid. It will also produce more ulcers, more reflux, more pain, more cancers. It will produce a lot more things. What's the green thing? Gallbladder. What's it for? Do you think it was designed to get stones in it? Do you think that was the design? Probably not, right? However, did you know that in my country, 100 million people have gallstones? 1 out of every 3 of the people in my country has gallstones. Isn't that crazy? Why is that? Well, when you look at this little organ, it's for doing what? Does anyone know what it's for? What does it do? It produces bile. What's bile for? Yes, it digests fat. That's correct. And the way it works is there's more bile required when you eat more fat, but specifically saturated fats. What are saturated fats? Animal fats, generally, right? So when you eat more fat, the body has to produce more bile. Pretty simple, right? So when you produce more and more bile, right, because you're eating animal fat, and then you don't drink enough water, what happens to all these bile salts is the concentration gets so high, what do you think happens? You form a stone, you precipitate. So that's what happens. Your body will compensate. I'm telling you, if you eat animal products, dairy, cheese, fish, goat, whatever you're eating, right? Your body will compensate, but it will also produce stones. It will produce problems, right? What's this long, stringy thing? The intestines. What's it for? Absorption. Who said absorption? That's correct. What do? Wow. That's great. Good for you. So it is for absorption. What's very interesting is if I were to create, okay, a scenario where I'm going to make some fresh curried goat for you, okay? And I'm simmering the spices for 24 hours, but the thing that I forgot is that I accidentally left the goat meat out for also 24 hours on the counter. Does that sound like a good idea? No. What are you worried about?
Run your belly.
Yes, that's right. You're worried about bacteria because bacteria multiply very well in warm, dark, moist environments, right? Oh, but wait a minute. Your intestines are warm, dark, and moist. Uh-oh. Very interesting. When you look at the intestines of a human being and you compare them to the intestines of this guy, remember this guy is gigantic, okay? He's not the size in this picture, okay? He's huge. Like if you look at this tiger, that's a small tiger. A normal sized tiger is gigantic, right? Normal sized lion is gigantic. Who has longer intestines? The tiger and the lion or you? How much longer are your intestines? Anyone want to guess? That's right. How did you know that? It's 300% longer than the lion or the tiger. Your intestines are 10 meters. Did you know that? Average 10 meters. Average carnivore, 3 meters. Interesting? I find it divine. Amazing. So this little concept here, when you have this lion, he needs to get the meat in and out, right? But you are different. You're designed for absorption. One last thing. When you look at the very border of the intestines, it's called the brush border. And on the very tips of the intestine, there's an enzyme called lactase. What do you think the lactase is for? Lactase is to digest what?
Lactose.
Lactose, right? Where do you find lactose?
Milk.
Milk, yeah. So pretty simple. When you have lactase, you digest lactose. But what's interesting, in every one of us, doesn't matter if you're red, yellow, black, and white, doesn't matter what race you are precious in the Christ sight, but also you have a drop in lactase. When you're a certain age, your lactase goes, and it actually makes that noise. It goes when it goes down. It drops at a certain age. What age do you think that is?
Puberty.
Not puberty, no.
30.
It's not 30, not 60.
Almost end.
Who said 2 or 3? Yes, that's correct. How did you know that?
Yeah, baby.
Now wait a minute. Why in the world would your lactase enzyme go down at around age 2, 3? Oh, interesting. So you have a drop in that enzyme, and it doesn't matter what race you are. It does not matter what race you are. There are some races that have a big drop, like black, the black race does, Hispanic, Asian, big drop. The Caucasian race, not as much. In fact, the one country where it drops only a little bit is Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden. But they still have a drop. Did you know that? They still have a drop. So what do you think this drop in the enzyme is telling you? Well, it tells you were designed to drink milk. Your mother's milk. We were actually in a class, true story. I was at Loma Linda Medical School and the dental students were here with us. And we had a lactation specialist. She was a researcher on breast milk. So she was comparing breast milk with bottle milk. Which do you think is better? Obviously. So she threw up slide after slide. She said, look at this. Better nutrition. Look at this. Higher IQ for your kids. Look at this. Stronger immune system. Look at this. Less asthma. Less autoimmune diseases. Less allergies. She went on and on. Finally, one of my classmates in the dental school, he stood up and he said, you've convinced me. I'm switching over. True story. True story. And why do we all laugh? It's silly to go back to drinking your mother's milk after you are an adult, right? Me. But which is sillier? Drinking your own species milk or another species milk? I'm just saying. Here's an interesting verse in the Bible. And before I was a believer, I wondered what this verse actually meant. But ask now who? And they'll do what? They will teach thee. Or thee. And they shall. Or speak to who? Anyone a tree hugger here? Anyone a tree hugger? Anyone talk to their plants at home, their gardens? People? Did they respond? No? They've never responded yet? No? Speak to the earth and it shall do what? It will teach thee. Or who else? Anyone ever have a pet fish? Anyone ever have a pet? Oh, you had a pet fish? What did your fish tell you? My fish only went, moo. That's all my fish ever said. But this is saying that the fishes of the sea shall what? Did your fish declare anything? But what will they declare? What will they teach you? Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord, or Yahweh in this case, this would be the word for Yahweh or Jehovah in the New Testament, has. So basically, this verse is saying the plants, the animals, the fishes are going to tell you what? That God is creator. Not Buddha, not Krishna, not Muhammad, not Allah, but Yahweh. is creator. That's what this verse says. True or false? True, right? But is that really true? Let's look at the earth. How many people like flowers? Ah, but why do you like flowers? Color, okay. Variety of colors. What else? Variety of smells. What else? What about the beauty though?
The shape.
Shape, yes. Does anyone know what the Fibonacci series is?
Yes.
It's a mathematical series found in nature. Did you know that?
Yep.